A new agency is making waves. The League Championship Series could have a poaching problem, and a Chinese tournament organizer drops a pretty big spoiler. I'm John Reisinger, and join me as always are Meg Turney and the Daily Dot's Jared Wynne. Hello, peoples.
Hello.
Here's what you need to know.
An investment company by the name of Diglife has been making waves in Europe as of late. Diglife, who previously owned a significant stake in the Ninjas and Pajamas esports organization, has recently purchased similar stakes in two other organizations, Copenhagen Wolves and LGB Esports. Ha! The moves give the company a strong presence in European Counter-Strike, and more could be on the horizon. Jared, what the hell's going on here?
Well, an investment company is looking at gaming organizations, esports organizations, and saying, you know, that seems like a hot property. I think I want to get in on that. So they are.
Like that? Yeah. Are they in the meeting going,
just like
that's a hot property?
Well, what they do is they have a table full of like different properties, and they say, you know what, I want this one.
Done.
That's exactly how investment works.
Yeah.
So yeah, we saw this with a good game agency actually. They acquired stakes in different teams, EG Alliance under the GGA umbrella, and then of course Twitch bought GGA, and that's become its own thing. This is going to perhaps become a prevalent trend where we have investment companies and gaming agencies taking stocks in multiple teams, which then compete against one another. That's one of the things here is that all three of these teams are top-ish, like they're high-level Counter-Strike teams in Europe. So there's some questions of them competing against one another a lot. Whereas you have EG and Alliance, for example, under the GGA umbrella, you've got one in North America, one in Europe. Maybe the two organizations could occasionally clash. Here you have directly competing teams in a very intimate environment. So it's a different thing, but I think it's a trend we'll see more of, as I said. We're going to see more companies wanting to get involved here, and as they do, they're going to want to take over multiple teams and multiple organizations and show off their strength and their power.
Could that be dangerous? Because if they feel like they're not making their money, do you think organizations could pull out of teams and start screwing with like the infrastructure of the game? Or
they could. It's better to have them there than not, though. It's better to have investment backing than not, and it's obviously a growing industry, so there's no reason to think it's going to happen. The bigger issue, as it currently stands, is the potential for collusion. We've actually seen in the past some issues with sponsors who then suggest to teams, you know, it's probably better if this other team wins, not you, because they're more marketable, or we need them to perform better in this. We've had that happen before. So with major stakeholders, as we have with Diglife, that's an even bigger concern. Not to accuse them, we haven't had any indication of that kind of thing happening here, but that is a concern that rises.
Okay. Well, one of the new additions to the European League Championship Series, H2K Gaming, has accused one of their competitors of poaching. LCS rules prohibit teams from attempting to recruit other teams' players without express permission, and it would appear that in attempting to rebuild their team for the new season, Fnatic did exactly that. H2K Gaming CEO Richard Wells informed the Daily Dot of the allegation and his hope that the Riot would act on them. Jared, what exactly happened here?
Well, you can't poach players and coaches and such, and poaching is basically going after someone who's on contract with another team without going through official channels. So a player, for example, has to ask his management for permission to speak to another team before he can have discussions with that team about going under contract with them.
We've seen problems like this before.
Yeah, we see this happen a lot, it seems.
Yeah, well, Riot has an especially hard clamp on this kind of thing. They try to maintain a very professional atmosphere in their leagues, and they also like to have control, which we'll get into in a bit later. We actually saw Counter-Logic Gaming get fined $10,000 because they poached a coach, actually, Skara, from Dignitas. So there's precedence for this, and it's going to continue to be an issue, I think, because managers are used to being able to just talk to players whenever they want to, and players are used to being able to talk to each other about making movements like this. But I think Riot's really going to put their foot down. It'll be interesting to see if these accusations are acted upon by Riot, because H2K obviously feels very upset about this. There's a kind of a gray area where H2K maybe wasn't an LCS team just yet because they won the expansion tournament to become an LCS team in Europe. And before the LCS season actually starts, and they're officially a team, you could say maybe, they have players being poached by Fnatic. So, you know, where does this fall within that? I think it still is an offense that Fnatic committed, but we'll just have to wait and see what the Riot guys say, because they have complete control over their domain, as it were, and little people like us don't have much to say about it.
It's getting personal.
It's personal with a big company, yeah. I'm fighting the man.
I just feel like it's coming from in here. I'm just a little person. I don't mean it.
I'm just saying, you know. I don't mean anything to Riot.
Riot doesn't make you feel special.
They don't give a shit about me. You know, they can be rude, actually.
Oh,
They can be rude on Twitter.
you've been hurt.
Really?
No, not me personally.
Tell me about how they can be rude.
No, not me personally. Oh, I have friends who are in the reporting business who break news and such, and then Riot doesn't like that happening, so they'll kind of tweak them. Like if you have one little detail wrong, like, oh, you got this wrong in your little report there.
Ooh, I hate when companies do that. It makes me want to be like, I'm not covering any of your shit anymore.
Yeah, this doesn't happen to me personally. I love Riot, actually. I hope they continue to have a great relationship with me. I don't even have any relationship with Riot, by the way.
This is something you don't really see in news. It's just the
Just the right double finger.
I really don't even have any direct relationship with Riot. I'm just speaking on behalf of friends.
You don't want to upset them because
Friends and
they'll
neighbors. They'll
clamp up on you.
They'll come at you.
They'll clamp up.
They'll fine you 10K.
I don't know if you've ever been to their compound, but it's serious business over there.
Which one?
They have a
The one in
compound.
LA.
Oh, I thought you meant like the one over in, well.
Is that what you call their
Sorry,
office?
we're all,
The compound?
It
The
is, though.
compound?
It's like they have a whole building and everybody's there at like 10 o'clock on a
underground?
Friday. Go home, guys. But everybody's there.
The big house, you
Yeah.
should call it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's big house.
Hi.
Oh, yeah.
Dota 2 Asia Championships became the biggest post-international story in Dota 2 this past week, and it's not because of the actual tournament they're hosting. The league website's HTML code inadvertently revealed the rosters of the teams intending to play in the upcoming event, and fans noticed some oddities.
These oddities included some of the world's best players switching teams. Artur RTZ Babaev and Ludwig Zai Wahlberg appeared to be on their way from Evil Geniuses to Team Secret, while Evil Geniuses will be playing with Curtis Aoui 2000 Ling of Cloud9, as well as Teenage Phenom Syed Somal Hassan. I got through all those. Jared, most of these players have already been successful. Why are they switching teams?
That's a good question, because EG is definitely a top 2 or 3 team in the world today. They've won just about every other competition they've even been to since the International. And at the International, they finished 3rd. So why make this move? Some very strong personalities in EG, I think. Their captain, PPD, has an iron grip on the team. He says, you play this hero, you play this hero. This is how we draft heroes. This is it. And that works pretty well for them, apparently, because they're one of the most successful teams in the world. But that doesn't mean that does not grind on you, especially if you're a strong personality, as Artesia, for example, is. So it's not a surprise they would want to change the scenery. I'm not sure if this is really going to change a whole lot for them, though, because he's going to a team that already has strong personalities in it, in Team Secret, with Zai, a very talented team now. So they should be very good in the future. I'm not sure how much of a change. I mean, this really changed for the sake of change, I guess, is the fact of the matter, because they didn't need to do this, obviously.
Not sort of something strategic or like with something with clear intent, but just kind of like for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, it's like we're tired of this situation, even though it's really good and we're winning every situation.
God,
We're winning a lot,
This
getting a
is
lot
so
of money.
fun. I love winning. Let's
Yeah.
change it up.
As for EG, I mean, I think they'll stay strong. These are like Aui's a good player, and Sumail is kind of unproven. He's very young. We'll see how he does, but I think he could be good. I mean, Zai is very young, and he did quite well for EG, so we'll see, but I think EG could look good too. There's other movements as well. It's just that these are the big ones because you have 2 of the best teams in the world doing like a straight-up swap here with different players. Cloud9 also losing Aoi to go to EG, assuming this all goes through, you know, all becomes official and such. It's also funny how HTML code is what revealed this whole thing. Some sloppy HTML coding on a Chinese website.
Of course it did, though. Of course it did.
Of course. That's how it would come out.
But is a tournament roster really the time to talk about switching teams? Like, wouldn't you make an announcement? Isn't there some sort of PR involved?
Well, they wanted to, but again, it's because the organizer for this tournament had sloppy code.
So it was
their
before they could
HTML.
make their announcements.
Yeah, so Team Secret, for example, had planned an announcement, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, hey, you have these 2 EG guys on your roster on this team's
Scooped.
HTML website. Yeah, they got scooped by some tournament organizer on accident. So, you know.
Clean up your code, bro.
Yeah, bro. Come on.
Sure, somebody said that.
Clean up your code,
I want that to be like a new tighten up. Like if somebody's too drunk, but clean up your code,
Clean up
bro.
your code.
Would that
No
be in
one will get
Mandarin?
that.
I don't know. Not even going to go for it. Riot has big plans for the League of Legends Pro League in China, at least as far as Western fans are concerned. That's because Riot has now decided to roll out a complete English broadcast of their Chinese competition, something that was previously produced by independent organizers outside the Riot umbrella. Jared, let's talk more about this Riot umbrella.
Speaking of Riot controlling things, they're now going to control the Chinese broadcasts that they have. And the LPL is a big deal. There's reasons to do this now because we're seeing an influx of the top Korean talent from the past year over to China. So the Samsung Galaxy teams broke up in part because Chinese organizations were paying them a lot of money to come to China and play. So there's a lot of star power in China right now, and you want to get in on that. Fans are interested. It's a good time for Riot to go there and take control of the broadcasts. So it makes sense. It also is a situation now where they pretty much control every major broadcast of their game. So they have, I think, some significant sway when you look at Twitch, for example. They don't really have a competitor. How do you work with Twitch, work around Twitch? How do you balance that power a bit? Maybe you have the most competitive, the most popular game on Twitch, rather, which is League of Legends, and you control every competitive match in League of Legends, as Riot now does, the broadcast of every match. Then you can go to Twitch and say, hey, you know, we have all of your most popular matches. Maybe we should have some kind of deal here. I don't know. I'm just kind of waxing theoretical here. But I'm just a lot of waxing going on.
Waxing. Poetic,
theoretical. But this kind of thing could happen, I think, as Riot consolidates all of their competitive broadcasts.
You going for like a Riot job? If I were in Riot marketing, this is what I would do. I would make us a ton of money.
Portfolio.
Just brought my resume.
I don't think they tend to have a code you have to follow very closely if you enter the Riot cult.
It's actually very true.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how good it is.
You're not wearing your Riot hoodie right now, so you're not allowed in.
I don't want to close any doors. I mean, hey, you know, I like cults. Cults are great. I think cults are the best.
We're officially banned by Riot. Never going to let us talk about League of Legends again.
Well, I'll talk about League of Legends anytime I want to.
Wonderful. Jared threw a fit. That's the leaderboard. We did it.
Is that a fit?
We said, when Jared made a stand, he offended a company. Somebody said a funny name.
Is that our bingo?
We did it.
You know, it would be a
Somebody get the card out. We've done
A
it.
fit would be if I knocked this microphone over
Please
and then
don't.
stepped on it.
No.
And then you get stabbed by Patrick.
Yeah.
Who's that? Where did the fourth wall go?
I want your camera to just cut out.
Welcome into the show.
Boom, camera's gone. Technical difficulties. Guys, that's it for the leaderboard. Don't forget, on Fridays, you can see The Know-It-All, where Ashley and I talk about all the biggest news stories in one shot.
And for more entertainment and gaming news, make sure you click like and subscribe, and we'll keep you in the know. That's it. GG.
GG.
GG, no RE.